Melky, following this Uber story, they have got some really bad PR. Brad Melky, ABC News correspondent, good morning.
Hey, good morning. That's right. Uber held a press conference yesterday, a teleconference with reporters. Ariana Huffington, who actually happens to be on the board of directors of Uber, she led the call along with a couple high-ranking executives to, like you said, do some damage control on these several stories that Uber's been confronting in recent months.
So their head guy stepped down or was fired, or let's start there. What happened there?
Well, I mean, their head guy is still Travis Kalanick, who is the CEO of Uber. He's not going anywhere, according to Ariana Huffington and these executives. He's the one who was captured in that video having an argument with a driver, saying some people just don't take responsibility for themselves when the driver started complaining. The person who did step down, though, just this week is the president of Uber, who's actually technically below Kalanick. He quit because he said, the beliefs and the approach to leadership that have guided my career are inconsistent with what I saw and experienced at Uber. He's saying he just can't work in that company culture anymore.
I mean, that's pretty damning right there, right?
Yeah, I think it really speaks to this larger question of what, just how chaotic and perhaps juvenile it is at Uber. I mean, we saw that delete Uber movement a couple months ago, right, where a lot of, especially people in New York, deleted the app over what they saw was Uber trying to capitalize on taxi cab workers quitting over that immigration ban. Then you had Kalanick getting in that argument with an Uber driver. Then you had this, and this might have been the most damaging thing of all, this searing blog post from a former engineer, a woman who said there is just rampant sexual discrimination, rampant sexual harassment, and that her bosses, when she was at the company, refused to do anything. They brought on Eric Holder, the former attorney general, just to look into these claims.
Uber has, it's the darling of Wall Street. It's the darling of investors because driverless cars and the future, I mean, they're staking billions of dollars on Uber. Is this enough to sort of turn it around, or what else are they planning on doing?
Well, so what we saw in the last several months is hundreds of thousands of people delete Uber. Those mostly were from the U.S. And frankly, at this point, Uber is not an American company as we know it, right? I mean, their money is coming from Asia, from Europe. They're making this big push into Latin America, these cities that have not had huge formal taxi commissions set up. That's where they're making a ton of money. And so Uber right now is worth an estimated $70 billion. I don't know if their bottom line has been completely hurt because of these controversies in the last few months, but they seem to know that if leadership is going to take them to bigger and better places, that their leadership is in big trouble right now. They're trying to contain that.
What are we hearing from Lyft and or any other competition out there to Uber?
Well, Lyft has certainly been sort of angling to do better here. Just in New York City, we've got Lyft. We've got several taxi cab companies that have ride-sharing apps. There's new ones springing up as well. But Uber remains the dominant creature here. And so they're really trying to retain their spot as number one. And this sort of executive board that showed up yesterday. By the way, Travis Kalanick was not on the call. They said he was too busy interviewing new candidates for leaders to work with, because we all know how well Silicon Valley tech magnates have a great reputation for giving up power and getting along well with other people. But I don't think it was a coincidence that it was Ariana Huffington and 3 female executives leading that call saying the culture can and will change at the company.
That guy was the guy who sort of came up with the idea first, right? That's the same guy.
He's the founder, the CEO. He's the brains behind the operation, and it speaks to this larger issue, especially in Silicon Valley, of when you have these young men who get ahead by saying no to a lot of rules and by coming up with their own ideas, by being brash and eccentric. That works great for having ideas and for being brash inventors, but when it comes to running a company with thousands of employees, with treating them with humanity, that's what some of the executives talked about yesterday. That's a whole different beast, and one that Kalanick himself says he's been struggling with.
Brad Melky, ABC News correspondent in New York. Have a good day. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
That's really interesting. I mean, they're in your face. There's no question about it.
I know, but you brought up a good point. The question about what about Lyft and some of the other ride sharing? That would be their great opportunity to be able to kind of sweep in and try to not take over, but really do some.
I mean, the ride sharing phenomenon, this sort of shared community, whether it's Airbnb or cars or whatever, right? It's not going away. It's going to be the way of the future. Is Uber going to be the dominant player? There's no guarantee, because they don't have any patents on GPS systems
No.
in cars to right. I mean, there's no propriety when it comes to their technology.
No, not at all. I mean, any company could.
Right, anybody can
Anyone,
do it.
yeah.
Right.
But it's going to take the women from Uber, the board members, the females, to turn this company around. Sounds like
or
it.
some other woman is going to have a. I mean, talk about a marketing ploy, right? The happy shiny car company, right,
It
or
could be
whatever.
anything, yeah.
Right. So interesting. All right, 6:26.